I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Friday, September 5th. No injuries when a car struck a pole in Quincy early today. Police say it happened at 20 Miller Street in West Quincy at about 2:20 this morning. Now, the airbags in the vehicle deployed. However, there were no injuries reported. The vehicle was towed from the scene. No injuries reported when fire broke out on the roof of a Quincy apartment building yesterday. Officials say the blaze broke out at 470 Adams Street at the corner of Whitwell Street just after 5 p.m. Firefighters quickly doused the fire, and no one was hurt. The extent of damage is still unclear. A former Quincy man has pleaded guilty to selling drugs in the Boston area. 39-year-old Samuel Jean-Baptiste, also known as Jet Black, admitted that he sold over 10 pounds of methamphetamine to two undercover agents over the past 2 years. Officials say Baptiste was arrested with a backpack containing 10 pounds of drugs. Baptiste pleaded guilty to drug possession and distribution charges. Baptiste is currently living in Las Vegas. He faces sentencing on federal drug charges in November and could serve at least 10 years in prison and face millions in fines. Well, the Quincy City Council returns to work on Monday night after their summer break. Council will meet in person at City Hall Monday at 6:30. The Finance Committee will continue discussing a request from the administration to approve a land disposition agreement for the property at 1620 Hancock Street in Quincy Center. The city took that property by eminent domain in 2022 and paid the owners $2.2 million. The former owners are now suing the city, claiming they're owed more money. The city now wants to sell the property to a developer for $1.9 million. Boston Global Investors wants to create a 7-story, 150-unit apartment complex at that site with some ground floor retail space. The development would also include the adjacent site of the former Good Health, the Blockbuster Video, and Coleman Sporting Goods store. The proposal also needs planning board approval. Quincy Ward 5 City Council candidate Maggie McKee has been endorsed by the environmental advocacy group 350 Mass Action. McKee is one of 7 Massachusetts candidates receiving the endorsement from the statewide volunteer political organization working to eliminate greenhouse gas emissions. The group says the candidates that it is supporting will push for climate action and climate justice in their municipalities. Candidates for local offices in Boston, Worcester, Lawrence, Greenfield, and Agawam have also received the group's endorsement. McKee is running against incumbent Ward 5 Councilor Dan Minton in the November 4th election in Quincy. MBTA riders hoping to sneak on the T without paying their fare will face consequences starting Monday. The first time, you'll get a warning from the agency. After that, your first, second, and third offenses will each be a $50 fine. Beyond that, it jumps to $100. MBTA General Manager Phil Eng spoke about the new fare crackdown for the first time, saying the goal is not to alienate riders, but to educate them about paying fares. Eng also says there'll be an appeals process if you feel you get a citation that you shouldn't have. On Monday, fare engagement teams will be out checking with riders to make sure they pay their fares. Eng says, while it may seem like $2.40 for a train ticket or $1.70 for a bus fare is a small amount, it does add up. This week also marked 1 year of the T's income-eligible reduced fare program. 36,000 people have enrolled to ride the trains or buses at half cost. While U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced a contentious congressional hearing about turmoil at the nation's health agencies, Massachusetts leaders were making changes they said would improve vaccine availability regardless of federal policies. CVS said it was working to make COVID-19 vaccines available as soon as possible throughout Massachusetts as a result of the regulatory changes that were announced yesterday, and Walgreens is also expected to make the shots available. Governor Healey announcing that the Department of Public Health updated its vaccine administration policy to permit the DPH commissioner to determine which routine vaccines can be administered by pharmacists in Massachusetts. Pharmacists were previously limited to only the vaccines recommended by the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, which led CVS and Walgreens to not offer COVID-19 vaccines in the state. CDC data showed that 90% of adults who received their COVID shots during the 2024-2025 season received them at a pharmacy. The change to vaccine administration policy follows a standing order issued last week by DPH Commissioner Dr. Robbie Goldstein, which allowed pharmacies to provide COVID-19 vaccines to residents aged 5 and older. Additionally, the governor said the Division of Insurance and the Department of Public Health will require insurance carriers to cover vaccines recommended by the DPH. The governor's office said the bulletin makes Massachusetts the first state to guarantee insurance coverage of vaccines recommended by the state. Well, Sheraton has completed a $100 million renovation of its 60-year-old Back Bay Hotel. The Boston Sheraton said the renovation impacted all public spaces in the hotel, including dining venues and meeting areas, as well as guest rooms. Construction on the revamp concluded with renovation of its restaurant, Henderson, at Sheraton Boston, which was finished in mid-August. Close to 1,000 children across the South Shore are returning to school this week with new backpacks thanks to generous donors to Interfaith Social Services of Quincy. Over the past month, volunteers have been organizing and distributing backpacks and school supplies donated to Interfaith to be handed out to the children of Interfaith's food pantry clients. Interfaith says the backpack drive helps alleviate a financial burden for families struggling to meet the basic necessities. Local businesses and organizations and high school students donated their time to distribute the backpacks and supplies. It's one of several seasonal initiatives run by Interfaith to help families. Next up is their Halloween costume drive. The Wollaston Hill Neighborhood Association will host a back-to-school bubble party and movie night tonight from 5 to 9 p.m. at Safford Park on Beale Street in Wollaston. Participants are invited to a free bubble dance party and movie night. Snacks will be provided. And then the free Saturdays in the Park live music shows begin tomorrow from 2 to 7 p.m. You can visit wollastonhill.com for more information. The Friends of Wollaston Beach will hold a free kite festival this Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. featuring kite crafting and history and story time corner. Visit friendsofwollaston.com for more information. The Quincy Farmers Market is open every Sunday from 12:30 to 4 at St. Chrysostom's Church on Hancock Street in Wollaston. Visit quincyfarmersmarket.com for more information. And the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office hosting a House to House for Heroes event in Stoughton on Saturday. Volunteers are needed to deliver information about programs and services available for veterans right to their homes. You can visit norfolksheriff.com for more information about that. A check of business news this morning, and stocks are higher. The Dow rose 350 points. The Nasdaq added 209. And the S&P is up 53. Asian stocks also rose after U.S. stocks climbed to a record as Wall Street made its final moves ahead of an update on the American job market that could clear the way for cuts to interest rates that investors love. The dollar slipped, the euro rose, and oil at $63 a barrel. Sports, the Red Sox are in Arizona for a series with the Diamondbacks that begins tonight at 9:40. And the Patriots' season opener is this Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Las Vegas Raiders at Gillette Stadium. The National Weather Service forecast for today, some showers around this morning, but then some clearing Warm and humid with a high of 84 degrees. For tonight, muggy with some patchy fog, a low of 65. Tomorrow, kind of hazy, warm and humid. Chance for a thunderstorm in the afternoon, high of 87. Scattered showers Sunday, cooler, high of 74. And sunshine with a high 73 on Monday. For the boater, waves about 2 feet. The winds south at 10, increasing 15 to 20, and then gusting to 25 knots. A small craft advisory goes into effect at 11 a.m. High tide 10:16 a.m. Sunrise 6:13, sets at 7:10. I'm Joe Catalano with an AM Quincy news update for Friday, September 5th.